back to the channel, everyone. I had a lot of views on the Mario movie review that I did, so I thought I'd go ahead and review this one. I appreciate everyone and the new subscribers. I thought that was very nice that you guys thought I did a enough job to subscribe. I plan on uploading more content eventually, but from various different forms. But I thought I had a little time to actually do this one, and so here we go. Let's talk about the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie, Volume 3. Um, I watched quite a few reviews before I went to see the movie, mostly because I wanted to see if I wanted to take my son to see it. So, but I'm probably going to also do a spoiler review of this one because I kind of want to talk about it. Um, so let's get into it. And I hope you guys don't mind. Wow, that kind of did something there. I don't know what that did. So let's talk about this. Is the new villain. I am. I had to listen to a pronunciation of the gentleman's name. It's Chikwudi Iwudi. And don't ask me to say that one again. But uh, he is the High Evolutionary in the movie. This is the main antagonist, and you already saw a real quick glimpse, really bad glimpse. Let's see if there's another one here of Adam Warlock. And of course, he is a protagonist in the movie as well. Wow, it doesn't scroll over, so we'll keep going. Um, but let's just zoom in on this particular photo. Well, I'll try not to come back to this one too much because it's nasty and fuzzy. But if you're a big fan of Adam Warlock and the Adam Warlock comic when it was still on a good run, this movie is not going to make you happy. I feel like he was. I ain't gonna say wasted. I heard some people say he was a wasted character. He wasn't wasted. Um, but I do think they didn't do a good job of treating the character with a lot of justness in the movie. Now, in this movie, is what I mean. But uh, the character did um, add some things to the movie, and I ain't going to take away from what they did with him. I just felt like they could have done a lot better with how they treated the character, in my opinion. I thought I'd get a better picture up. Um, and as you can tell, this is the actor from. Um, let me check and see what his name is. I've forgotten. Will Poulter. You might know him if you saw the movie We Are the Millers. Um, he was the heel in that movie, and they didn't stray too far, in my opinion, from that plot point in the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 either. He wasn't the total heel in this movie, but um, yeah, he played a heel on more than one occasion in this movie, and they could have done a lot more justice to the character than the way they did. Considering Adam Warlock is a very prominent character in the Marvel universe as a whole. Um, but if you're not a big Adam Warlock fan, you probably won't have too big a problem with this. Honestly. Now, I did mention earlier that I had taken my son to see the movie. Um, that it was it is rated PG-13. There was a lot of language, of course, violence. I mean, name a Marvel movie that doesn't have violence in it, and I'll, you know, I can show you the worst Marvel movie ever made. But right now, I think the Inhumans have it. But uh, as far as this movie goes, I thought it was a good send off for the Guardians of the Galaxy. Um, there was some things that I felt could have been improved on. There was some things that they did in the movie that I thought, you know, but when it comes to making a fun action movie that didn't didn't completely um, it definitely wasn't like in the colloquial terms the way people are using it nowadays. It wasn't woke in that regard. It was a fun movie. It was enjoyable to see the Guardians back together. It had um, the typical formula for a Guardians movie that, in my opinion, now this is going to differ from a lot of people who um, have reviewed the movie, but in my opinion, this movie didn't stray from the formula, and that's a good thing. I know a lot of people who are going to review this or who have reviewed this have said, it's still the same old plot point and all this other stuff. Well, I'm sorry. That's if it's working. If it works, don't change it. That's why do people insist on we have to have something different every movie that comes out as long as it's entertaining and fun? And I know that some of the criticisms are coming from um, Disney naysayers, and I am not uh, a big huge fan of Disney. When it comes to the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, yeah, I knew I was going to see it. I have seen. I'm sorry, I've seen maybe four, maybe four of the Phase 5 films. We're in Phase 5, right? I can't ever remember. Anyway, the current phase of films. I have not seen that many. I saw in theaters. I saw the Doctor Strange movie because I was looking forward to it. It did let me down a little bit, but I enjoyed it. Um, I recently saw the Thor Love and Thunder movie. It was okay. It left a lot to be desired. Um, it was too comedic, in my opinion. Uh, it tried too hard to be. It almost tried too hard, in my opinion, to be Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what it felt like. Is Taika Waititi film, whereas this is James Gunn, and Taika Waititi and James Gunn have different thoughts on how to inject comedy into their films, and in my opinion, James Gunn wins that race in a almost in a one lap race. He wins by a lap and a half. I mean, it's that bad. Taika Waititi has a little less understanding of what I think humor is. Now, I come up to this picture and you'll see a lot of rocket pictures because I drew them on purpose. I drew these photos out on purpose because Rocket is one of the main characters, storylines in the film. It follows the story of Rocket's origin. I'm not going to go any further into that for spoiler purposes. I'll do that in the spoiler review, which I wasn't planning on doing multiple reviews on this movie, but I feel like I have to because to do a spoiler free review is it takes a lot more to break down this movie than to just do a spoiler free review. This movie, in my opinion, had a lot of fun. Like I said, the main protagonist in the movie is not Rocket, but yet the story is about Rocket. So that's as far as I can say with that without spoiling the movie. Um, there, and I know that some people have come out with, "Hey, this is spoiler free," but there's been some leaks that there's some really, really sad parts to do with Rocket's origin. That is true. There are some sad parts to Rocket's origin. And it's not just the fact that he was experimented on, but more so. It was more sadness. It was more tragic than that. Um, Now, if your child that you're going to want to take to this movie um, still has a different a problem differentiating between real movies because it's not a cartoon and the fact that it's a movie or fantasy and reality. And I'll admit, my son a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I would not have taken him to see it. So I'm not encouraging you to take very young children or anything like that. Mine's 7, um, and I feel like he's watched all the Guardians movies. He watched the Avengers, Infinity War recently. I think he saw the End Game for the first time with me this week to prepare for this movie because I was like, you need to know kind of what happened. And I think the Avengers Endgame movie affected him more than this movie because of the tragedy and the horribleness and the stuff that was in it. Infinity War, he was just like, I love the snap. I thought that was great. So, I knew that, okay, I'm not dealing with, just horrible, he's not he's not going to freak out over the tragic stuff nearly as much as I was worried about. However, and I'm staying on one image, so let's move on. However, uh, there was parts, and I did forewarn him. I forewarned him, hey, there's some really, sad parts in here, so I just want you to know. And there is. But he was just like, okay, you know. Like I said, mine's 7. If he was 5, I probably would not have taken him to see it. Um, I feel like they did a good job with the send off. Um, they reflected a lot of the previous movies. I, 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 if I had to go and rate just the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, not taking all the other things into account as to which movies are best, just taking into account the Guardians movies. Um, I I can't 100% say that this is third on my list. Uh, I almost enjoyed this one more than I did the second one. I would definitely say that I did. I enjoyed this one more than I did the second movie. Uh, I actually had to pause and think about that for a second because what was it about the second one that I didn't like? Well, I don't know. I would say that it was slower. The second one was so much slower than this one. The first one was fast paced, good amount of action, slow parts in between just to allow you to catch up. I felt like this one reflected the first one better in that regard. I felt like the second one was too slow. There was just too much that wasn't happening in that movie. It felt like they were stretching things out more. That's just me. May not be you, and that's okay. I'm perfectly okay with difference of opinion. I'm just telling you what I think. I thought it was a good movie that allowed uh, the send off of all of the characters in the movie to take a more rightful place moving. There was another issue that I had, or two that I had with this movie, but I'll cover some of those things in the spoiler review to help you understand kind of what I'm thinking for the other aspects of why I say that, or what's why. I'm trying to keep from spoiling anything. So, but here's my opinion. If you enjoyed the Guardians of the Galaxy 1, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, if you enjoyed the appearances of the Guardians of the Galaxy in the Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, if you were disappointed because there wasn't more Guardians in Thor: Love and Thunder, then you're going to enjoy this film. Okay, this is not. This is the absolutely the best phase, whatever we're in, 5 or whatever movie in this phase. Absolutely, and it is excruciatingly distant from any of the other things going on in the Marvel universe. It's almost like they just completely ignored that anything else in the universe is happening except this movie, which was good for a change. In all honesty, I think Marvel needs to separate itself from trying to conglomerate everything constantly. That's to me, that's the problem now. They're trying to intertwine everything so much that it's like I don't want to watch 17 different movies and TV shows because first of all I don't have time, and secondly I don't care about some of your characters that you're making movies out of, and worse yet, that you're not actually following the plot the formula for who the character is. The I told you I saw Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was not a Doctor Strange movie, and it was horrible in that regard. It wasn't a horrible movie. It was just horrible that it was Doctor Strange in the multiverse of madness or whatever. Um, but it wasn't about Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange just happened to be a character in his own movie, and that. uh, anyway, all right. So I've gone on far enough. It is a fun movie. I do think if you enjoy the first phases of the Marvel movies, I think this is definitely worth a watch. I think personally that this movie will do better in the box office than they estimated originally, even though they've downgraded how much they believe this movie will do. I think you're going to see. I'm sorry, I'm clicking through because I'm trying to find my title screen thing. I think you're going to see that the and I didn't elaborate too much on this character. He did an excellent job as the villain. By the way, the main protagonist. I mean, the main antagonist. He did an excellent job acting in this film. I think everybody's acting was on point. I can't think of anybody that did a just kind of an awful job of acting or anything like that. Um, his character was okay in the film. By the way, the dog is in the film. Cosmo is in the film a lot more, and it was actually a good thing. I was glad they brought that character into the film a little more. Um, but yeah, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I really did. So if you enjoyed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies up to this point, you will enjoy Volume 3. I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to sign off with Fire Knight 13. This is uh, my second movie review. I hope you guys enjoy it. We wish you all Godspeed. We'll see you next time.